Hello and welcome to another episode of I Am Not Sure I Trust the Programmer with KSP Rp-1. So I'm actually feeling quite frustrated today with this series because, yesterday I was going over my code for last episode's mission and checking where it went wrong. If you did not see the previous episode, I attempted to launch a probe in a flyby by the moon, and then 13 seconds after my transfer burn started, it just shut off and tried doing that again. But of course, I only have one ignition, so that didn't work. And it turns out that when I started the burn, I had no remote tech connection. And the moment I gained connection, it shut off and then tried to restart again. So definitely it was a remote tech thing. Then I thought, okay, well, it must be the whole, because sometimes there's a setting for remote tech for it to cut off the throttle if you have a connection and suddenly lose it. So I thought that was it. I went, toggled it. I did not really read the description properly, and apparently I turned it on. So I rolled out another one of these rockets. I was ready to launch another one of the missions. And the moment it left the pad, since I don't have a remote tech station in this launch site, the moment I disconnected the launch clamps, it shut off the engines, and the rocket fell onto the pad and destroyed it. So, another mission that went to hell. I had to repair the pad, lost more time, really frustrating. And that also leaves that I don't know why remote tech shut off my engines in the first place, so I've gotten rid of it altogether. It was already causing me problems with remote tech stations, that they were disappearing. I don't have a remote tech station here for some reason, I just can't add it, so yes. But anyway, while testing the code for the lunar transfer in my test save file, it actually works quite well. I was pleasantly surprised. I was getting below the 5,000 kilometers required for the lunar flyby contract. So I picked up the contract. I actually picked it up for the previous attempt that exploded the launch pad. So now I think I have 260 days left to do it. But I'm also already, I think, like 30 days away from researching probes that can small probes that can control stuff. So once I have that, I can make a probe that can make course corrections, and I will even try to do the lunar impactor contract. But this one is still, once the transfer burn is finished, it will no longer have control, so it's just toss it at the moon and let's see how close we get. Even if it fails, I haven't done any high orbit science, and of course I haven't done any moon science. So just by getting into the sphere of influence of the moon, I would get a lot of science out of this. But anyway, we've seen this launch a million times, so I'll come back when we're ready to do the transfer burn, or if something bad happens. Okay, so we are now in orbit. Yes, the launch went without a hitch. We're like half a degree off on our inclination and like 1/3 of a degree off on the longitude of ascending node. So still quite good. And well, last episode I really didn't go into what I did for the script. So, well, I did mention that I struggled a lot with finding a good reference for the role. So what I ended up doing is instead just taking the role with respect to the planet. That is easy command to get from it, and basically just zero it. Make sure it's not rolling to too harshly. If it's, I think I have it set up for like half a degree per second. If it's rolling like that, it doesn't matter. It's just not, as long as it's not spinning around too much. And then once it zeroes its roll, it takes, there's a function in KRPC to get an angle with respect to another angle, like switching reference frames. So what I do is take the vector direction of the burn direction, essentially, like the direction where I need to burn to, and then do a transform to the reference frame of the vessel. And that actually gives me the vessel reference frame does include the rotation of the vessel. So yeah, basically that gives me the whether I need to pitch or roll, and every time it goes through the calculation, it recalculates the direction of the vector. So if it's rolling a little bit, it doesn't matter. And then, like the previous control algorithm that I made, it just first maneuvers the pitch so that it's in the same plane as the vector, burn vector, and then just maneuvers the yaw for it to get pointing in the right direction. Bloody hell, I really suck at explaining these things on video. Hopefully I'll get better with it. Of course, it would help if I had a little bit more confidence in my programming abilities. But yeah, like I said, I tested it a few times, and I did actually, because last time I hadn't checked how close to the moon I would get, because I wanted to see, have an on-camera test of that, but then we all saw how that turned out. But yeah, it was getting quite close to the moon, so let's see if it will behave itself this time. In none of my tests did I have the oscillation, which happened in the previous episode, so that's another thing. I think my first improvement for this script, well, two things. One, this is only working in 2 dimensions, so it assumes both orbits, like my orbit and the target orbit, are in the same plane, which will rarely be the case. And also, yeah, it assumes that the burn is going to go perfectly without a hitch, so it just uses burn time. But I think what I'm going to change it for is to instead calculate the energy of the final orbit and then stop the burn the moment it goes past that energy level, or if it's a retrograde burn, if the moment it goes below that energy level. And yeah, maybe that will be more accurate in the long run. It will also be better for longer burns, because also the burn timer right now, I'm calculating it with instantaneous burn, which is not the most accurate thing to do. But okay, again, it seems to be pointing fairly well. It's a little bit off prograde, as it should be. Okay, so it should start OLED at T-minus 6 seconds. Yes, good. Of course. I hate this game. I truly hate this game. Let's try that again, shall we? And, well, as for this probe, you have failed me for, well, yes, you have failed me for the last time. it's probably not going to be the last time watch the next launch fail again. Alright, I'll be right back. Okay, so I just went back to the Space Center. No time has passed. So I had already preemptively started making another Legolas probe. And yeah, that should be in 100 days. Actually, because I did get another, of course we failed the last sounding rocket altitude contract. 7,200. Yeah, but this I should have 90 days. How much? 1,225. And it's this amount for failure. Yes, let's try to complete it. So it takes 12 days to roll out one of these rockets. No, I did not check. 89 days. So it should have like 75. Let's see if it's... I'm probably going to spend more on it than I should. Yes. Screw it. Yeah, might as well. So hopefully we'll be able to make that contract. And then I was realizing that yeah, I'm going to have new probes in 17 days, so I'm still going to, well, obviously keep these rockets, just put money into it. But I'm going to start designing and building the next Legolas that will have a controllable upper stage to make in-course corrections. So I'll come back to show the design. Okay, so we're in the VAB. I unlocked the Luna 3 probe, which, if I can show you here, can control up to 500 kilograms, vessels of 500 kilograms, and it is in and of itself 300 kilograms. I also noticed that it has RCS with nitrogen, so not the most efficient, but I think then what I'm going to do is going to test it out in my test save and see if the RCS is only good for orientation or if it can also do translation, because it can also depend on the design of the probe itself. This is just one part from the Radionik Soviet probes pack. So I might not need to make another stage for it, but just this thing on its own would be able to make any course corrections that are needed. So yeah, I think I'm going to test that out, but not today. I need to leave soon, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. So yeah, today is definitely going to be a short episode, but yeah, once again, failures. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and until next time.